Awards. Don't take out one syllable of the name of the word. A black tie affair. Nothing less. Yellow man, get your glass here. And that is a great achievement. No more than the recipient. I'm taking it to another level.
Everybody get ready! H1 coming down Friday, April 28th! Driving Pit alongside Karen and Jansen presents My Time to Shine! H1 coming down inside of the Caribbean Grill, 180 Bloomfield Avenue in Montclair, New Jersey! My Time to Shine! International progress! So about music, my got it, shout out!
You can sit in between me and Ian.
So crazy, everybody get ready. Driver and Pit alongside Karen and Jansen presents My Time to Shine.
Right on top of the refrigerator on the bar.
Chambers Entertainment in association with H&M proudly present Mother's Day dinner and concert. A tribute to all mothers. On the 14th of May, the club gonna be Club Eclipse. That's 247 ABM Place, Newark, New Jersey. Y'all know what that is. Performing live is your host, Ghost Rider, your soul provider, and the big man himself, my daddy, Ken Booth. So all them ladies, them danger babies, just come out early and support your mommy. Bring out your mommy. And all of them rude boys, bring out your mommy. Remember, admission is only party and at the gate more. So remember, music provided by Unity, DJ Prento, DJ Jason, DJ Hurl, MC Gren Gren, and Lady D. So remember, come on early, New Jersey, to all of my ladies, my gentlemen.
Here, try these, see if these work.
Did you know today? You don't want to use my earphone? It's a special night from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's Mama special night. Love you, Mama. Club Eclipse, 4th of May, Mother's Day. Oh, Ghost. Can do like this. I just need a little.
Looking for trustworthy tax professionals? Give Impact Corp a call. We will assist you with all your tax needs. We are CPAs and IRS enrolled agents. If you are audited, our audit protection team will represent you at no out-of-pocket cost.
I have one with more outlets. Do you need one?
Audit protection and a year identity theft protection, so you can have peace of mind without fear of audit. Call our team of tax experts today. 953-395-4401.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Hey, man. Doing all right. All right, so what's the word, man?
Hi, this is McGooman Moving, box truck for rent, for all your light moving needs, anywhere within the Northeast Orange, Irvington Orange areas. $50 a trip from Monday through Thursday, $60 from Friday through Sunday. Call 862-279-9300.
Check these headsets, make sure that they're good for you. 862-279-9300. Yeah, you can leave your bag out there. It's safe.
Well, I don't know if you have material that you wanted to see.
Would you like to bring it in?
Yes.
Radio 94.3. Reggae. Dance hall. Soca.
You're talking about the
hip hop and R&B.
about the school issue?
Yeah.
African.
All right.
Disco. Oldies but goodies.
Hi, this is Janet Jackson.
We're bridging the gap. Seriously.
It's my turn.
Blast Radio 94.3 New Jersey.
You want to answer that, don't you? I bet it's killing you, seeing that soft glow just inches away. Hey, someone wants to tell you something, or maybe ask you something. Ah, come on, answer it already. Just so we're clear, that wasn't my fault. Next time, ignore your inner thoughts. Don't text and drive. here at Splash Radio.
Alright, we get ready to go.
Larger road wall, Mr. Local. Shut up! Yo, the best station on the block.
Splash Radio.
Well, I know some Mr. G represent for 94.3 FM Splash Radio. We don't splash out the music on them.
Him. Your attention, please. This is no ordinary show. Covering news and information for Essex County, New Jersey, and beyond. This is the Eric Dawson Radio Show. Broadcasting from 94.3 Splash Radio. Now, here's your host, giving it to you like only he can. It's Eric Dawson.
Hey, this is Eric Dawson, and this is the Eric Dawson Radio Show, 94.3 FM. We're going to have to share this mic today, brother.
Okay, no problem.
So move up a little closer.
Okay.
We're going to just jump right into it because I know you're a busy guy. Just introduce yourself to, well, I want to say my co-host Ian Burrowes is here.
How are you?
Introduce yourself to the audience.
Lewis Copeland with the City of Orange Township.
So, Mr. Copeland, we were talking about the education. Last week we had Education Week, and we were talking about what was going on in Newark. But we also talked about the headlines in Orange, and there was an overturning of an election, school board election in Orange, and folks were upset, and I was hoping to get somebody to come in from the township and talk about exactly what went on. So if you'd be kind enough to share with our audience exactly what's happening there, and then what the move forward strategy is for the township.
Oh, my pleasure. Well, we're going to have to backtrack a little bit as we talk about education in the City of Orange Township. Under Governor Christie, the Orange Public School budget was cut by $12.6 million last year. On June 20th, 2016, Mayor Warren testified before the Joint Committee on Public Education with Assemblywoman Sheila Oliver, Senator Ronald Rice, about this gap in funding. This was prior to this question going on the ballot. When this question went on the ballot and it became a Type 2 district, the bond that had been approved, which would have provided the school system with the money for the infrastructure improvements in February of this year, had to be rescinded. It was no longer void. It was no longer valid, simply because a Type 2 district would require the school system to issue their own bond. Where's the problem with that? They would have to hire bond counsel. They would also have to redo their budget, which has already been prepared for the upcoming school year. And with a $12.6 million shortfall in funding, they cannot endure any more financial responsibilities that's going to increase their budget. We've already seen a reduction of services in terms of after-school opportunities for children, tutorial services that may be cut, and we've had a loss of teachers, and they're trying to retain the teachers that they have now. So it wasn't a matter of overturning the vote of the people as much it was a matter of ensuring that these children did not lose out. Also, the public needed to be informed that by making this decision that it would impact not only their schools, but it could quite possibly impact their taxes.
And so the question on the ballot was not a fair, or I guess how would you say it, comprehensive enough for the judge at least believed that the residents didn't understand the impact. How was the question written, and how should the question have been written?
Well, Judge Vina decided that the question did not provide clarity to the impact of their decision. And of course, as leaders in the community, the responsibility of the mayor or council or anyone else who's a leader in the community is to ensure that the public is informed prior to making a decision. So with not having that information, put them at a disadvantage. They weren't aware of the impact. And quite honestly, we have a lot of parents here in the school system who have said, wait a minute, if I had known this, I may not have supported this.
Really?
Yes.
See, because that side's not out, because the way that it appeared, and even appeared to me, so I appreciate you coming on, is that the administration and folks on the board, maybe even folks in the council, were just attempting a power grab, and that they were resisting the will of the people.
No, the mayor was not resisting the will of the people. In fact, it's the will of the people that put the mayor in office. So he would never resist the will of the people. But ensuring that the people had all information when making a decision is vitally important.
And so now the next step is, or at least I heard that they're trying to get this on the ballot in November. What's the likelihood of that happening?
Well, I can't say what the likelihood of that. The city council has to vote to appeal that decision. But they have to take in consideration the impact it's going to have. If we're able to move forward now with this bond, that was currently passed by council twice, once in November and also in December of 2016, the school can receive their money, probably their funding, somewhere around June of this year, which is going to be important because right now we're looking at infrastructure improvements that need to be done in our school system. If they were to delay this and appeal this decision, the school system would not receive the money at all this year. Then there would be a financial hardship placed upon the school to figure out how they're going to be able to A, make the infrastructure improvements, and B, ensure that the children do not lose as a result of the money they have to spend.
Well, I don't think that anybody wants the kids to lose, but they want information. And like I say to the audience all the time, part of what we're trying to do here is make sure we're bridging the gap between the informed and the uninformed, right? And to edify me as well, so that I can promote the proper information. What kinds of infrastructural issues are the schools facing right now that you guys are looking to improve?
Some of them are basic infrastructure improvements, such as the boilers in the school system are very old. Some of them are I believe the Newark High School is the original boiler, and that was built in the 70s. So those need to be replaced. We have playground issues, and we have structural issues. Now, the SDA has approved funding for improvements to Cleveland Street School and also to Orange High School, but that's only going to take care of a portion of some of the things that need to be done. It does not take care of the infrastructure. It will provide for expanded classrooms. The city of Orange Township has a population of around 32,000, but when you take a look at the fact that we have so many people that may be undocumented, our population could be higher than that, much higher.
So again, guys, I want you to understand, just try to break it down for them they're trying to protect you, trying to make sure that you're voting your interest, right? And at the end of the day, if you understand clearly the impact that this is going to have on taxes, what kind of impact do you think it would have realistically on the taxpayer in Orange?
Well, that goes to the school levy. Of course, if the school has to endure more financial responsibility for this bond, for the improvements of the school system, they're going to have to raise a tax levy, which would then possibly increase property taxes.
And right now, people are complaining about the rate of taxes now, right? And so people have to, it's a matter of being careful what you ask for. And it seems to me, right? So if you want this, it's gonna cost you more. Now, this is how I feel about it, and I know that you're not here to answer this question, but just so my feeling always is that folks should have a right to choose the board members that they want representing the school system and representing their children, but it's going to come at a cost, and then they'll be able to do that if that's what they choose to vote for.
It is within everyone's right to be able to voice their opinion and exercise their constitutional rights. What is important is that when they do this, we give them the information so they'll understand the impact of their decision. And if you make a decision blindly, then it can cause tremendous harm, not just to you as a property owner, but more importantly to the children. And we have a responsibility to ensure that our children receive a quality education. And so therefore, all parameters need to be taken in consideration. Mayor Warren supports informing the public completely. In fact, during a meeting this week, he is going to do a letter that's going to provide an explanation to all residents. And of course, we will make sure that you receive a copy of this letter. And this letter is basically going to explain the entire situation so everyone has a complete understanding. He supports the people, he supports the will of the people, but he also wants to make sure they're well informed.
All right. Well, listen, this is what I'm talking about, and I appreciate you coming in, man, and sharing that information with people. So now you know what's going on. If you have any, so if they have any additional questions, where do they go? For folks, I mean, we want them to listen here. We want to be able to entice you guys, based on the listening audience, to come here and answer some of the questions. But for folks who have questions about that, where can they go to get the information?
They can certainly call Mayor Warren's office. That's 973-266-4005. You can ask to speak to Mayor Warren, and if he's not in the office, there will be someone who is there to help you.
Well, listen, man, I appreciate the your willingness to come in. I know you came in short order to be able to help answer these questions, and look forward to having you back another time.
Thank you very much for having me. Greatly appreciate it.
Hey, listen.
Take care, bro.
Take it easy. Enjoy your weekend.
All right. Thanks.
So now you guys know. If you didn't know, now you got the information directly from the from the office of the mayor, and you guys know what's going on. My advice to you would be that you would pay attention, have a clear understanding of how these things impact impact the district. If somebody has additional information, now we have we have this on the record. We have the information from the councilwoman, and if there's additional information out there that people have, please feel free to give us a call. This is what we do. 973-457-8000.
You're listening to the Eric Dawson Radio Show on 94.3 FM.
Mr. Burrowes, what's the word, man?
Hey, what's the word, man?
Well, trying to provide information, trying to dispel misinformation. That's what I'm about.
That's what's up. Hey, anybody out there? You guys are good out there today? How y'all doing? Happy Friday to everybody. For many, Payday Friday, right?
Oh no, we don't have Payday.
No, not us. I'm just saying for many of our listeners out there, it's Payday Friday. They hitting, they out there. They hitting the, they hitting the ATM and all that.
Is that how they getting it Payday Friday?
Hey, look.
Get it how you can, huh?
Get it how you can.
Wow.
Hey, this is for those of you, the call-in number 973-457-8000. We're going to talk about a few things today. We had somebody else coming on today, but no,
I don't think Kev's going to come on today.
No, Kev's not going to come on.
Kev's not going to be in today. But I gave the invitation to Sharon if she wanted to share the mic with us.
Okay.
So if she feels so inclined as we move forward with the conversations, that'd be great.
Yeah, is everybody enjoying the warm weather? I hope it's supposed to be close to 80 degrees today. It's supposed to be
82.
Yeah, well, go get your tan on. Don't try to create no fake coughs and illnesses out there to get out of work early, because I'm watching some of y'all out there. I see how y'all doing. We had a very impactful past 7-8 days dealing with our education.
And it's not ending now. I think I was talking to you yesterday about the now what's going to happen, guys. Well, there are two things I want to talk about on the education front, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Right. One is there's going to be a vote for president of the Board of Education, and one of the names that I heard floating around, there are two, and I told you I'm good for this every show, so my phone's going to ring.
Okay.
I'm going to preface this with saying I love Kim Gaddy. I've known her for a long, long time. My family's known hers known mine. My understanding is Kim Gaddy's name is being floated around for consideration of being the president of the Board of Education, along with Marquise Lewis. Now, I want to start by saying I think that both of those people are on the opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of ability. I think that Kim Gaddy is capable. I don't think that Marquise Lewis is capable. So I don't even understand how he's being mentioned in the same breath as Kim Gaddy in terms of ability. But what I want to speak specifically about is this. I'm always on the side of the people, always on the side of the community, and I was disappointed when Kim Gaddy, along with other board members, voted for that $42.5 million lease. I thought that it, considering that the board is facing somewhere between a $30 and $70 million deficit, that was not a vote for the children. It was a vote for something else, and we're still trying to uncover what that was.
Right.
The only two people that voted against that were Selinger, who lost in his bid for re-election, and Crystal Fonseca, who is currently a board member, and she serves as the vice president of the Board of Education. Now, full disclosure, last year I beat up pretty brutally on Crystal Fonseca. I talked about the fact that I thought that she was being put on a board for contracts over kids, along with some other kinds of things, and some of the Facebook memes I put up there, represented that. What I want to do right now is say that at least in the way that she voted against that $42.5 million, I thought that was admirable, and I thought that she showed that she was willing to fight against special interests and be on the side of the people, and more particularly on the side of parents and children.
Okay.
And so I don't know how good this is going to do her, but I think that was a great job, Crystal, and I would, given the fact that she spent the last year being the vice president of the Board of Education, I think that she probably has the most experience when it comes to somebody being considered for the presidency. I think that given the fact that she was on the side of the children and on the side of the parents in the community in that vote against that $42.5 million, she should be given some consideration. Now, the board will vote. Her colleagues, including herself, she'll be able to cast a vote for herself, according to, our resident expert on education, former chairman Rashan Hassan. So certainly she may cast a vote for herself. I would encourage any member of the Board of Education that says that they're on the side of these children to cast a vote for Crystal Fonseca as well. She's proven, at least again, in that one particular vote, that she's for the people. The second thing that I want to say is today is Friday, so Tuesday was election, Wednesday, Thursday, today is Friday, so this is day 3 that my main man, Reggie Bledsoe, has not produced the diploma that he said he has, the degree, right? I want you guys to be mindful, right? Because he said he had it. He said he was going to produce it after the election. This is day 3 that he hasn't produced it, and I contend that each day that he doesn't produce it, and I don't believe he will because I know he doesn't have it, every day that he pretends to have it, he's fraudulently presenting himself to you guys in the community. And what concerns me is that the community is not outraged at that. That we are teaching certain values and principles to our children, and elected and selected leaders in the community are not holding our elected officials to those same standards. I mean, I want to say that again, right? So we hold our children to a set of standards that we're now not holding an elected official.
Now, how long would it take you to produce a degree or certification or anything that you achieve? How long would that normally take you?
What did Reverend? What did he say? What's in my hand? What's in your hand? So if he's got a cell phone in his hand that has a camera on it, that's how long it takes.
Okay, well,
right, and he can put it up on Facebook, and we'd be done.
Pretty much.
But I know
shut us down. Quiet the noise.
But I know he doesn't have it, and we're going to continue with this.
So we have a person who, exactly, Carla. On the thread, she's saying lies do tell.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But this is the culture that we have all accepted, and they know that we've accepted it. They know that we've accepted this culture, and he doesn't feel that he's going to be pressured to do it. And the elected officials in our community don't feel that their positions are going to be jeopardized, so they're not going to open their mouths about it. So everybody's hush hush, right? But
absolutely.
But while we're hush hush, we're talking about all these other things that are going on with kids in our communities and how they ought to behave, but not how elected officials need to behave. And then there was one more education piece that I can't remember right now, but if I do, I'm going to beg you to let me talk about it. Oh, the shirt.
Oh, the hate. Oh, man. If you would have sent me the memo, that you was actually going to wear it today,
I got my shirt.
I would have put mine on.
I got my shirt
Because
I'm a hater.
I'm talking about,
and I'm going to tell you from yesterday's show, from just introducing it to people.
Right.
I have over 150 some shirts sold.
Sold.
So we have a lot of haters.
Wow. Hey, can I borrow a couple dollars?
Hey, we have a lot of haters, man. Hey, listen, man.
Watch how he just got to breeze over that question. Just breeze over that question.
You tell somebody you got some money, they start counting what's in your pocket.
I'm trying to tell you, trying to get.
So those are some of the things that are going on the education front in the community. And, this was the last thing.
Okay.
I remember now. I put out a request on Facebook. We have fight parties, right?
We do.
We had political watch parties. We had them during the last election. Did we not?
Yes.
And so I'm asking, why don't we have community watch parties for the Newark Public School Advisory Board meetings? I think that's a great idea. So I have asked 5 or 6 people to join me in putting together a group of people who could rotate and show up at the board meetings to record them. I'll create a page that is a community page, right? Where those 5 or 6 people will all have admin rights so that when we show up at the board meeting and we hit live, it will post it there, and then we can invite the entire community to come in from the comfort of their living room and participate in the actual board meetings. Okay. We can see the discussions that take place, and then what I suggested, Ian, was that we unpack it on the show. Right? We give the former chairman an opportunity to read it and everything else like that. We maybe try to invite 1 or 2 board members to come on and talk about it based on all of the commentary that would be in the thread. And now you're talking about inclusion. You're talking about engagement, which is what the board says that they want. You're talking about transparency. You're talking about all those things. Dude. Is that? I mean, tell me,
dude. What's been going on with you lately? I mean, like the shirt, this other idea. Like, what's going on with you? Like you in a zone right now.
I'm trying to be in a zone, man. Okay. I'm trying to figure it out, right? So as a marketing executive, my job has always been to figure out how to connect products, services, or ideas with the consumer.
Right.
And so for me, the product, service, and or idea is the Newark Public School System and all of the ills, right?
Mm-hmm.
The consumer is the community, the parent, and the child. So how do we connect them? And everybody talks about the fact that we need to have this engagement. That's what you hear them all say. We need to engage parents. We need to engage parents. We need to engage parents. That's what they all say. And the Board of Education has no comprehensive marketing or communication plan to get information out. They don't have anything that allows parents to send them information and then them track the information and make sure that they're resolving the issues. I mean, like customer service. You know what I mean? Like Verizon. You know how you get the calls from Verizon? How's your service? Well, I got Verizon. I don't know what plan you have.
Verizon.
Okay. So, can you hear me now?
Absolutely.
Okay. So,
especially now that they have unlimited data. Sure, I'm okay with them.
Wait a minute. Do they have unlimited data again?
Yeah, they have it. Didn't you see my man drop the mic a couple of times?
Well, wait a minute. So I'm locked into the old plan.
Yes, you are.
So I'm paying a whole lot of money.
Bro,
as soon as
I saw that commercial, I was on the phone with him like, I need to switch me up real quick.
Well, you know, I've got unlimited data. Wait a minute, because you know I use about 64 gigs a month in data.
Bro, I mean, look.
I mean, for real. And the guy didn't believe that, and I went to the store and I showed him.
I'm a parent of 5. All of my plan, data's off the charts.
It's all data?
Off the charts.
I mean, so I got to check that out because
I have daughters that want to watch their favorite shows on their iPads and live stream.
That's absolutely right.
Stream on Netflix and all that, and they was killing me.
All while in the backseat of the car and you're driving down the highway.
I was getting thank you letters every month from Verizon talking about, hey, thank you, you sent my kid to college again, and it's
So I want to take an opportunity to ask everybody who's listening to please share this broadcast so that folks know that we're on. And then, you know what I found out too? Not only can you hit the share button, but I believe if you hit the share button, you can also invite your friends.
Yes, you can.
So I would appreciate if you guys have the time.
And you just not figuring that out?
I did, man.
It's only the 21st.
What did you say yesterday? You know, some people are slow to get on the bus, but they get on. So now I'm on.
Now you gotta get on the right seat.
You did say that, huh?
Now you gotta get on the right seat.
Now I gotta get on the right seat.
Right.
Hey, Sharon, can you do me a favor?
Sure.
I think on the outside there, I got my coffee and I got my water. That'd be great. I appreciate that. Well, so those are my education things. Those are my community engagement things. I want to tell people again, if you're a hater, and somebody said to me, Eric, don't charge $7.99 for the shirt. Charge $10.99, and then you can give more money to buy socks.
Why just socks though? You just socks?
What's up with the $9? How about $9.99?
Well, that's a marketing thing too, right? So when you say $9.99, people don't think $10.
Exactly.
Right? Or you say $10.99, they don't think $11.
99 cents. Anybody want their penny back? All right. Well,
no, they don't want it back. So please support the shirt, and we'll support the neighbors without addresses, and we'll get socks for them.
Hey, you buy the shirts, we get the socks. That's how we do.
Oh, shirts and socks.
Shirts and socks. We getting the socks. We trying to.
Sounds
make
like a basketball game. No, that's shirts and skins, right?
Yes, that's shirts and skins. We trying to make sure that we have some of our less fortunate in the community. They have something on their feet. So that's a good cause there.
Bridging the gap.
So.
What's up? What's up, Ian?
I wanted to talk about, and I don't know if you can cue up the video I sent you.
Did you email it?
I did.
Okay, let me go to my email.
I wanted to talk about social media. Deborah says no, guys. $7.99 is cool. She's like, look, let me buy them shirts first.
Since I said $7.99, for those people who ask for them, they'll get them for $7.99.
Don't play with me like that.
They'll get them for $7.99. But moving forward, they'll be $10.99. So Deborah, you'll get yours for $7.99.
Deborah, don't play with me like that.
The 150 shirts the 150 that I committed to yesterday will be at $7.99. Oh, and what we're gonna do? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on your thing about the social media stuff. We're gonna get to that.
No, it's all good.
But what I want to also do is this. Every day we're going to give a shirt away on the show.
Wow, you're feeling generous.
Dude, right? So we'll give a shirt away on the show.
Go ahead.
And what we'll do is we got to figure it out. So I'm going to ask the audience, we need some participation. Should we have people answer a question?
I say so. They have to.
Right? Okay.
They have to. And I would say
so it's not like the first caller. You don't want to do that.
I would say a person also a question connected to a previous broadcast to see if they were actually paying attention. Like say who was here, what was the topic, or what did you something pertaining. So at least those who were faithful listeners should be the initial benefactors of all that. I mean that's just my. Veronica, you like that idea? Okay, Veronica says that we're locked in at $7.99.
So wait a minute.
So they appreciate that part.
Oh, the $7.99?
The $7.99.
Okay, but it's until I fulfill those orders, and then it's going to go to $10.99. So we're going to do it.
I'm arguing with him for
$9.99.
I think $9.
All right. So look, let's do this too. So I'm going to ask you to do this, Ian, and for you guys listening on my page too, and understand it's a cause. It's a cause. We're doing it for a cause. So I did have somebody who said, you know what? I'll give you $25 for the shirt, Eric. Right, because they want the other money to go to the thing. So you can donate too, right? So you can buy the shirt and you can donate additional money. They're buying socks for homeless people. But here's the question I want to ask you. Survey. Do it in a thread and then we'll count them up. In my thread, Ian's thread. Should the shirts be $7.99, $8.99, $9.99, or $10.99? What should they be? Right? And then at the end of the weekend, we'll know and then we'll set that price. We're going to involve you in that.
Okay.
Okay? I think that's fair.
So we're going to let the consumer...
Let the consumer set the price. Because I want to see because it's a community, right? We're all about... I want everybody to be involved in wanting to provide socks for these homeless folks.
Right.
So now, I think I stalled enough to be able to find a video. Dude, you sent me
that's
like
the one
clips.
you sent. Look at that, bro. Wait, which one are you?
Oh, is that the one? Wait, no.
That's the one that you
social
responded.
Media and social.
Yeah, but that's it. But look at what you sent me. Those are the audios that you sent me for the whatchamacallit.
So where's your thing to me?
All you did was respond to that. See, people, I have to deal with what's the name?
Oh no, here it is. No, that's a PHP file. Is this what you sent?
Well, that's one of the things I sent, but I'm talking about the video itself. What I'll do,
You can send it to me again?
I'm gonna send it to you again.
I'm sorry, Ian.
So, ladies, one of the topics I've been trying to get to, but we had many other
socializing.
is socializing
How are we doing?
in the 21st century.
Are we doing all right socializing?
And yeah, well, yeah, and how it affects us on a personal level. You know, with our and also at the workplace. And I was listening to a gentleman, Simon Sinek, talk about. He has a very good. I sent it to you on April 19th.
Oh, okay. Then I'll look for it. Just keep going.
Simon Sinek, he spoke about millennials in the workplace. And it's a very good video if you YouTube that topic, millennials in the workplace, and listen to it. It's a very good, I think it's like a 15-minute video. He speaks to a lot of, you know, what a lot of us, especially our millennials, are dealing with in this social media age, and how we interact with each other, et cetera, so on. So, you know, one of the things that and let me just be clear, because some people don't like the term millennials and all that. You know, the term millennials, you know, as far as I understand, those born like after 1985, pretty much in the, you know, internet, social media age, whereas, you know, socializing became a little bit more easier, whereas we're not putting in the work necessary, and not just socializing, but seeking out information itself. You know, back in the day, a lot of us remember when we had to do a paper for a school, we needed to know that, learn that Dewey Decimal System, go to the library, dig through the cards.
I want to interrupt you for a minute. Is this the one where you say, I think I want to kick off the show with this subject, relationships? That's the one I got, man. All right. Yeah.
So you can resend that one to yourself. Yeah. So where was I? Because you can. Oh yeah. So yeah. You know, back in the day we had the Dewey Decimal System and all that, and we needed to do some research for a paper and all that. We had to go to the library, look it up, alphabetical order, find it, whatever the Dewey Decimal thing, go to the particular section in the aisle to locate the book, then sit down and read the book, you know, and then transfer that to our papers. There's less work that's being asked of us now, you know, for something like that. A lot of people are copying and pasting, they're clicking, they just go into Google. People don't even go to a darn library anymore, and to get the information, and it's instant access. And so people are also saying, along with that, everything else is also instant access, and a lot of that has made us become less patient. It's you know, putting in the work and having the patience for building up stuff, and it affects a lot of us in the workplace as well. Like again, a good video. I think if you can cue that.
So I have the video, but it's a 15-minute video.
It's a 15-minute video.
You want to play the whole video?
No, I don't want to play the whole.
Oh, you just
video.
want to play a part of it, and then
I just wanted to play a part of it. I think I was asking you to cue this at 7 minutes in the video. He made it.
All right, so we'll pull it to the 7-minute mark.
Yeah. So again, it's one of the videos that I looked at, and a few articles that spoke about how social media is affecting us in relationships, and a lot of you guys might also can identify this. Like, you know, one of the things you want to hit the let's play that part. I think that's the section where I was at. Hope, cue that up at 7. I think that's one of the areas I wanted to touch on. Okay. Hopefully that's I showed a few videos. Let's see where we're at.
That's what happens. And the fact that you cannot put it away is because you are addicted. Right? If you wake up and you check your phone before
go back just a little bit. Right there. It's right there. A little bit before 7. That's
like
perfect.
All addiction, in time it'll destroy relationships.
So you want to go back?
Yeah, like a couple of seconds before, because he makes a statement which is very profound. A lot of us could probably identify with this one.
Let me know when you're ready.
Go ahead.
Not put it away is because you are addicted. It's fun. Too much gambling is dangerous.
Here?
Right? There's nothing wrong with social media and cell phones. The imbalance.
Can y'all hear that out there?
If you're sitting at dinner with your friends and you're texting somebody who's not there, That's a problem. That's an addiction. If you're sitting in a meeting with people you're supposed to be listening to and speaking, and you put your phone on the table, face up or face down, I don't care, that sends a subconscious message to the room that you're just not that important to me right now, right? That's what happens. And the fact that you cannot put it away is because you are addicted. Right? If you wake up and you check your phone before you say good morning to your girlfriend, boyfriend, or spouse, you have an addiction. And like all addiction, in time, it'll destroy relationships, it'll cost time, and it'll cost money, and it'll make your life worse.
Yeah.
Right?
You can stop
so
there.
you have...
Okay.
So, I know some of y'all heard that, right? And some of us can identify with that. You know, he spoke about the fact that a lot of addictions start at an early age as well. You know, he said, you know, for example, well, that a lot of people who are alcoholics usually start at a, you know, they were exposed to alcohol in their teens, and they became alcoholics over time, or gambling and other things of that nature. Whereas especially during that time in adolescence, before you're mature enough to manage yourself and discipline yourself, that you become that you use this alternative or a natural substance or whatever to help you cope, as opposed to learning how to cope yourself. So, you know, also, and the science supports this, that the use of social media, Facebook, etc., so on, and all that, it increases endorphins in the same chemical that we get in our brain when we're drinking or when we're gambling or something that's exciting, and it makes us feel good. So a lot of us become addicted and need those. So now we're out there pressing for likes. You know, we're looking and hoping to get likes. You know, and every time we get more likes, or we're you know, like we're checking for that, you know, it makes us feel better. So the addiction for those feelings are out there, and you know, they become real. And now we start socializing in that way. You know, like we look, some of us, you know, I remember there was a young lady, and it went viral. She was wearing one of those shades that had it was like the mirror shades, and she posted, said, "Oh my gosh, stuck in so much traffic." Now, you know, the mirror shades, they reflect what's in front of you. So when people zoomed in on the mirror shades, there was no traffic there whatsoever in front of her. So the purpose of her posting it was just really for the attention that she was seeking at the time, and nothing else. But so yeah, this gentleman, and his Simon Sinek, he speaks about this and quite in detail. It's about a 15-minute video. He talks about the fact that we, you know, and how it affects us personally. Yeah, exactly, Carla. It's a rush. It's a rush. So, and the other thing.
Well, I'm trying to stay with you. So, what are you suggesting? What are you suggesting people do?
Well, just like anything else, in moderation, right? And first, in order to deal with an addiction, first you have to identify that you have one, right? And a lot of us are addicted to this thing, and we're using it for the wrong reasons versus using it for, you know, the right reasons. You know, like a lot of us, when we initially jumped on Facebook and others, it was more of an easy way to connect with, you know, long lost friends and things of that nature. Now it's a daily feed and a constant feed, you know, of information and their attention and things of that nature. And it's more, you know, more on the intention side versus the information side. Well, rather useful information. A lot of us want to join in just on the gossip side, you know. So, yeah. So, you know, he spoke about those, the chemical reaction that we have as far as the endorphins and all that. And yeah, if anybody chimes in, like, and you heard, he mentioned, when you wake up in the morning, if you wake up and the first thing you do is check your phone, and, you know, before you say good morning to your significant other, you know, or anything else, he says, you know, you may have an addiction. You know, and people, and he suggests that we don't leave our phones by our beds, so that if we wake up in the middle of the night, we're going right to the phone. That we got to leave it in the living room. And some people go, well, that's my alarm clock. Well, the response to that, well, go ahead and buy an alarm clock. It's $8 somewhere. Go ahead and buy yourself an alarm clock if that's what you need. You know, it's really inexpensive, but.
So I fall asleep with my phone. I wake up with my phone.
I do.
I literally, I don't know, in a say a 10-hour period, I might not have my phone for all of 15 minutes. When I go to the bathroom, I have my phone. If I'm in the bathroom, I forgot my phone. My fiance slides under the door. Okay, I got now.
That's an image I'm trying to erase from my head right now.
So well, no, I could be shaving or anything else.
Yeah, okay,
right. I think that we all are addicted to something, whatever it is. Some people are addicted to love. Some people are addicted to television, food, socializing. Some people are addicted to being introverts, right? So, you have a habit or an addiction, right? I mean, you kind of figure out those two words. Look, I personally think that we just use social media and we use this technology wrong. That's what I believe. I don't think that we're using it correctly. It's almost like a kid, like candy's not bad, right? So you go into a store, a kid wants to shove all the candy that he or she sees into their mouth. So in moderation, it's not bad. You got to learn how to use it. Okay. And how to use it. I think that there's some things, if you were to say that folks in oppressed nations are using social media, I would say that they're accomplishing tremendous things, right? I would say that here, the people that I see, and I complain about it all the time, that they don't use the social media to accomplish anything. If they spent that same time, I wouldn't care if they spent the time waking up with their phone, going to bed with their phone, but if they were trying to solve the issues of the community and of the larger community and those kinds of things, I think that would be time well spent. But posting big booty babes or the fights from those different websites and things like that. I think that exactly. See, but if people were waking up every morning with their phones to see Amber Alerts to post those, I wouldn't have an issue.
Right, but again, we're talking about the difference between information and attention seeking. And those are two different things. And there was an article that I forwarded to you that was posted on mensxp.com. Talks about the modern relationship. I mean, it asked the question, why are modern relationships falling apart so easily? And it mentioned a few things. It mentioned...
Sheila wants to see the shirt. Keep talking, but I'm going to show her the shirt.
With Sheila Montague?
Mm-hmm.
Tell Sheila Montague I said hello, good morning.
Here's the shirt.
Let her know we posted it already.
We posted it, Sheila.
Yes, and I'm working on another.
Should I stand up? I think I have a shirt on the outside too.
You're wearing
I never got to meet Sheila in person, but I'm a fan. I've heard some of her speaking points, and I'm a fan. But okay, back on top. So,
relationships are breaking up because of social media?
Well.
Now, I can see relationships breaking up because...
Yes, they're breaking up because of social media, too, because there's some people
out
there, 973-457-8000,
if you see your guy hit like to a voluptuous female...
What was that word again?
Voluptuous. Voluptuous.
That's not the word I heard the first time. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that, Cheney? I don't know. That's not the word I heard.
It's just still early in the morning.
The grammar police was about to arrest him. Go ahead. It's good.
But if you see that your boyfriend or fiance or husband is clicking like to women who
you can't click like. I mean,
they do, and they share it, and then so those kinds of things happen. Those things
immature relationships and insecure people. That's right, Cheney. Come on, call in. I want to hear your side of that. I hear you,
but I think it's disrespectful. So
wait, is it disrespectful to click like at somebody's picture? I'm not talking about the big booty. I'm saying if it's a friend who's dressed up nicely for
those don't break up relationships. The ones that break up relationships is
look. I've heard. Shoot. But he spoke about a few things. One, the social again. especially the younger folks that didn't learn how the fact that it takes time to create significant relationships. A lot of us have relationships with people that are really not so significant, right? Mm-hmm. And because of that, like a lot of us, like a lot of our friends that we have, out there on Facebook, like we got 5,000 friends. Are they really friends, or are they just are they just like acquaintances and are not even?
I have a question from a female perspective.
You have a question from a female perspective? Come on the mic. Come on over here to the mic and ask the question.
So as one defines a relationship, right? Are we friends? We're talking. We're dating. You're taking me out. So what do you have that discussion? Like, what are we? And so how do you then define that? Because as a woman, if you're unclear on your role and your place, so how do you then react and conduct yourself accordingly? Because not everyone conducts themselves as appropriate.
Well,
okay. Oh, well, you know what? First, I want to say, Sharon, because you're like blocking his view.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. So come around the other side so they can see who you are, and then you put this in the middle.
Yeah, would you come on in here and join us in here for a second?
So I mean, all right. So first, I want to be clear on where we're going, because I know that we're talking about social media, we're talking about socializing.
Socializing in the 21st century.
Right, but I want to try. Are we talking about relationships? Are we talking like how are we talking about it before we move forward?
We're talking about intimate, personal relationships. We're also talking about relationships in a workplace, how we socialize with people as a whole, and
how we socialize. So behavior.
Yeah, behaviorally, because the thing.
Etiquette and conduct.
Right. So because the thing is, what the article and the videos that I've been reading.
So this is what I'll say. I'm gonna try to answer this week.
Okay.
Before telephone, we wrote letters. Well, I didn't. I wasn't born, right? But letters were written, and the Pony Express would deliver the letter, right? Okay. And so I'm saying before the, like the mail, the way. I want to try to make sure we get our product placement for our sponsor.
But I wanted to be a gentleman. I didn't want nobody out there saying, "What the heck you doing sitting, man?" and the lady standing.
Oh, I got you.
I don't need that going viral.
No, I hear you.
I would be single the rest of my life.
Well, then we'd be talking about relationships, right?
Yeah.
So, but prior to the current postal service, when you had the actual guy on a pony, you still had relationships that people had. They would write letters and they'd give it to the guy. He'd take off, and that letter might not make its way for a week or so, a month before it arrived. And that's how people communicated. And then when the postal service or trains came about, then communication sped up a little bit more. And then when the telephone came along, communications sped up a little bit more. Email came along before the internet, before social media, and communication sped up a little bit more. And now I think that technology is growing at such leaps and bounds. Like I said before, we just haven't figured it out. We're fumbling and bumbling with it. But people survive. So you're going to have these you're going to have these relationships. Folks are going to, learn how to deal with them. You're going to, in the midst of it, like I remember when social media first came, texting, right? People started to realize that when they wrote a text, they couldn't necessarily get across the inflection. Right, so what was happening was something was being misunderstood, and then they adjusted.
There was a lot of misunderstanding.
Right, but then people made adjustments, and I think that we're going through more adjustments. I don't say we get rid of it. I say we just slow down. We understand. We communicate. And we don't. I don't say that we avoid the physical communication, the phone calls, the going out, and the intimacy of all of that.
Right.
There's a balance. But I certainly believe there's a space and time for the way to do it.
But I think it definitely impacts on how we date and everything else. I mean, Veronica says that dating nowadays is horrible.
May I give you an anecdote?
So, go ahead, give us an anecdote, please.
I don't really socialize. I'm so busy, with work and everything. And so for me, it's challenging, this dating thing. I can't really talk to a guy and we're talking business context and then, oh yeah, hey, let me take you to dinner. It's just not happening. Like, if it's business, it's business, and unless he makes the move to, pursue something, make a move. Yes, back in the day, gentlemen would make a move. They would initiate communication. They would approach a lady.
Right.
And the etiquette has just really just waned. We're not leveraging technology like we should. We're not utilizing it appropriately to communicate effectively.
So, sorry about the camera shaking. So are you suggesting, I'm not sure what you're suggesting.
I'm not suggesting anything. I haven't gotten to my anecdote.
Right.
Okay, go ahead. What's your
So this online dating, a bad experience, the worst experience in my life. I cannot. And so for me, for someone as busy as me, how do I even go to like a matchmaker? Because really, someone's going to have to vet this guy
that's
out.
A whole nother,
It's a whole nother
So the online dating thing and the dating apps, that's an entirely different conversation,
I think. If you don't know how to sort people out, if you don't know how to...
But I just want to make sure that we're staying on topic, because we were talking about...
relationships and use of technology and social media. How do you conduct yourself with the use of technology in relationships? Right?
Okay, so we're considering the online dating apps to be social media?
All right,
I just want to be clear. This is your topic, Ian. I just want to stay on...
Well, okay. I'm going to try to hit... It shifted a little bit, but I'm gonna bring it into the context, right? So let's talk about that, for example. Dating,
talk about what?
Because she started talking about dating and men, initiating. For example,
into the mic.
Nowadays, let's look at it. Unfortunately, social media, in some ways, has gotten in the way.
Into the mic.
Whereas, we have guys don't need to come up with and put themselves in an awkward position anymore. Really, like, hi, I kind of wanted to introduce myself. A lot of people, we're not doing that so much, and there's really no practice in doing that, right? Because now we just go ahead and let's swipe right or swipe left, send you a poke. Something like that. Those things are happening nowadays to go around that, and we're making it a little less personal because now the guy's not putting himself out there so much, and the woman too. We aren't putting ourselves out there. We're not investing ourselves. Like we're kind of safe behind the virtual wall, if you will, and so we're like, we're putting out little feelers, and then even still. The expectation is instant gratification because everything else, because in the age that we live in, is instant gratification. What's the weather going to be? Press. What's this going to be? Press. I need to find, what was the name of that song? Press. We can easily get these answers so fast, so we want answers quickly. Right? So it really impacted on the level of patience or lack thereof. And because the patience has been, number one, impacted because of the technology age, that interferes with a lot of other stuff. So people aren't like even on the workplace. You hear these young people going, man, I think I'm going to change jobs. They're like, well, why? I'm not making an impact, right? But you've only been here for 8 months. Yeah, but so that's their feeling, and it affects their all this because Instagram and I'm sorry I'm all over the place. I'm just because I'm looking at the time too because we're about to take break. That our approach is different. I'm sorry. Where's the other thing I had? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
When you speak of approach, right? So when you like your formal home training, right? And a young man, my princes, my scholars, don't have the social skills to be able to socialize and interact with, females, right?
Well, because it's not given us to early anymore. See, back in the day when we played, we actually had to get together to play, right? We went outside, we played tag. I can name games that these guys don't even know what I'm talking about. I say tops, tag, Cogolivio, all these other things that we had to go outside to play and interact. Now, all you need is 2 thumbs. 2 thumbs is all you need on on a remote control, and you can be playing, in quotes, with somebody across the ocean.
I don't see a problem with that. I think this is great. This is just the age we're living in, right? But what I'm trying to express is, when you lack the skill set to even interact and use technology in a positive way to be able to have the impact, that's where I'm going. So, you can use technology and, use your two thumbs effectively and say, and interact with people and be able to, we got to go. No problem. We got to go.
So can I get and finish that thought? And then we're going to take the.
Can we go back to the home training?
Right.
It's kind of, that's where I'm saying, that's where it is. Technology is just a tool.
But what I'm saying is that when we're not playing together in person, right? We don't get to deal with conflict resolution, right? If we have an issue, we don't have to stay there and deal with and learn how to deal with conflict resolution and learn how to resolve things over time. We don't end up doing that, right? Because nowadays, right, if somebody upsets us, what do? Click unfriend. Right. And that's it.
Well, let's take this break and then we'll continue this. We'll be right back.
Flash Radio 94.3.
Dance hall.
So what I want to try to do is I want to try to type this conversation up. It's all over the place, right? And people would
disco.
A lot of people. So I want to try to say what we're talking about.
We're bringing it together. Seriously. Flash Radio 94.3 New Jersey.
Well, we're moving on now to the side, and the dealers are poppers in the sky.
Hi, this is McBoomin Moving, box truck for rent for all your light moving needs. Anywhere within the North, East Orange, Irvington, Orange areas. $50 a trip from Monday through Thursday. $60 from Friday through Sunday. Call 862-279-9300. That's 862-279-9300.
Sharon. Here we go.
You're listening to the Eric Dawson Radio Show on 94.3 FM.
How much longer do you want to spend on this? This is Eric Dawson. This is the Eric Dawson Radio Show, 94.3 FM. Call-in number 973-457-8000. 973-457-8000. So we're going to spend a little bit more time talking about this. And then what I want to talk about, yesterday was pretty bloody in Newark. There were, the reports I got was 6 or 7 people shot, a couple people murdered, and that kind of stuff. So we're going to finish this piece, and I think this is lighthearted, and part of this discussion is lighthearted, but you're correct, Ian. Relationships are breaking up, marriages are breaking up over this, and so maybe at the end of this discussion, we'll give you guys some tips and some tools on how to kind of manage your whole social media lifestyle.
Yeah, that's interesting. Deborah Mapson said I opened up Pandora's box on that one. Well, I think it's necessary. Like we can avoid having these important conversations, and I think it definitely does impact on how we socialize, and because we have grown more accustomed to get instant answers on a lot of things and instant gratification, we have become less patient in investing in personal relationships. Like and I've seen it happen on my and I've been directly affected by that and myself, and I'm sure we all have. You go through a rough patch and you ask a person, hey, just give me a little bit of time to deal with this. They don't want to wait anymore. They want to go on to the next thing because they need to constantly, because we become addicted. Going back to the endorphins part, we go right back to someone else is giving me that attention. I just got inbox. I got someone's. It takes nothing to just good morning, and we think we're doing less work for a relationship, less work period. Like a lot of the stuff I see on social media also. And the other day I got into it with some people because there was a young lady who was clearly depressed. She was actually going through something. She says, I'm going through a whole lot. I think she lost her brother or some members of the family, right? And people were clicking sad faces and stuff like that. And she was clearly crying for help. And I said, the heck with all that. Anybody who knows this young lady, and she happened to be a friend of mine on Facebook, but I didn't really know her personally. So my response to them, the heck with that. If you know this young lady, call her on the telephone. If you know where she lives, go to where she's at and be with her. She needs, and I told her to reach out yourself and be with somebody, because clicking the sad face isn't going to do anything to help this young lady while she's going through the situation. Because, you know, and also the science shows, since a lot of this stuff has come out and our addiction to this, and that depression has increased, and also suicides have increased. So a lot of us can mask and create a fake virtual world to the world. Everything is happy all the time, right? Everything is awesome all the time. So we're not really dealing with real emotions, real issues, and because we're not dealing, we've lost our ability to cope with those real emotions and real issues. So what happens when we're no longer able to cope? Depression sets in more so, et cetera, so on, and then it connects to other things. It's not surprising that there's an increase in the number of these antidepressant medications and things. It's not a surprise when all these things connect. Also, because we're no longer socializing on a more intimate level, and we're not building those, again, conflict resolutions, and for men, more importantly, the ability to accept rejection from a woman, right? A lot of these young men can't accept rejection on any level, to the point, and there was another article about that, and also there's science to support this, is that there's been an increase in violence towards women who reject men. I know a lot of women who wear purposefully, and please call in 973-457-8000, who wear a ring on their finger to pretend that they're married or other, so they can avoid having to have the conversation with a man who doesn't not accept rejection. So in some cases, the men can accept, a man is more likely to accept the fact that you belong, in quotes, to another man versus being available. So I mean, I know my ex, she ran into this. She was walking across Central Avenue, and a guy was trying to, hey ma, what's up, how you doing, tried to get her attention. She didn't give him the attention that he thought he warranted. He turned around, and going across the crosswalks, he turned around, walked right beside her and poked a gun to her side. Right? And thankfully she had the wherewithal to, stay calm, and she says, well, no, I was just thinking about some other stuff, blah, 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 and gave him some kind of story, took his phone number enough to satisfy him, and kept it moving. But that's the level a lot of this stuff is going on. Call her. Yeah, she talks about she gets cussed out. I've witnessed it after leaving a club scene. It's cold. One of my employees, and I got on his case about this. It's cold outside. Young ladies, wearing, not enough. It's cold. We're walking to our cars. He wants to say something to her. She's not responding. She just wants to get to her car because it's cold outside. She doesn't respond in the way that he wants, and he's in the quote unquote millennial age bracket. And he goes off, and I got on his case about that immediately while it was going on. I was like, bro, you don't do that. I said, she's cold. She's not going to stop out here to stop to have a conversation with you and all that, just because you felt, So, again, it's just talking about all these different levels, it's impacting us. But
so what I want to say is this.
Yeah.
Because we are impacted. I think we all can agree to that. There are 10, and I like to discuss these, see what you think about them. 10 ways to cure your social media addiction, if we are addicted. And I don't know, again, how we determine whether we're addicted. But if you believe you're addicted, it says the first thing to do is to admit it's a problem.
Okay.
Right.
Well, with any addiction, you have
to admit it. And then the second one, it says disable push notification. So do you guys know what push notification is? It's when you have your phone and then boom, all of a sudden Facebook sends you something, or Twitter says, hey, this just happened, and now you feel compelled to go and look at it.
But it's not also that, it's also any other app. It has
any app.
A push notification.
I'm saying any app. Disable push notification. That way you will go when you want to go, because what push notification does is it tells you when to go. It says go now. And like Pavlov's dog, right, you go now. And then you're walking down the street, you may be in the middle of doing something, and then all of a sudden, boom, you get a push notification, and you interrupted your real life to go into this social media life, right? So it says disable your push notifications. The next one, it says deal with your boredom. Some people are just bored.
Well, right, but right, and this is the other example. Like let's say if we are actually in a boardroom, awaiting for a meeting, right? What do a lot of us do? We're sitting there, we're waiting, and we have the phone up to our face, and we're going through our thing, right? While we're waiting for the meeting to start, without the phones being in the room, if, like, say, in the workplaces to try to manage this, don't have the phones in the room. And what happens if you don't have the phones and you're sitting there waiting? What happens? You go, you might go over to the person to your side and say, "Hey, Eric, how's your dad doing?" "Oh, well, my dad's fine. He's better now. He's not in the hospital anymore." That's when those
but beyond that. What about picking up a book? What about picking up a book? What about learning a new hobby? What about doing those kinds of enriching yourself beyond this?
That's understandable, but the point I'm making is that where do we form real bonds and real relationships? Are those small moments when we have that intimate time, and we're engaging at that point. That's where we get the building blocks, right? Versus not engaging at all.
Right, but
how many of us go out to dinner?
But think about this for a second. Let's talk about the engagement part.
Okay.
So you got two people who have been inundated with their whole social media lives, right? And then at the end of it, they look and say, well, okay, we're going to put our phones down. Have you ever... Listen, for any of you guys listening, tell me if this has ever happened, especially if you have kids.
I was about to say this every day.
Right? Ahead. And so you tell your kids, put your phone down, we're going to talk. And they put their phones down, you put your phone down, and you stare at each other. And then you stare at each other because you have nothing. Because your well is empty. You have nothing to contribute. Watch the microphone stuff back. So you have nothing to contribute to the conversation. And so you sit there, and then at some point, the family is painfully going through this exercise. And at the end, everybody, because it's so painful, says, okay, go ahead and take your phone. Right? Because you can't figure it out. So I'm saying you have to enrich that other part of your life so that when you do wean yourself off of your phone or out of your social media realm, you can talk about the book that you read. You can talk about the movie you saw. You can talk about the new hobby you learned. You can talk about the new house that's being built around the corner because you took a walk around the block. You can talk about those things, but because people have nothing to contribute, because their worlds exist within the framework of what's in the palm of their hands, again, what's in your hand.
But this is the other thing that's it's done, or it's doing. A lot of us would prefer to spend 1 hour with 100 people versus 1 hour with one person, because it's more intimate and having to deal with that one-on-one. And again, like going back to intimate settings, we choose to go out to have dinner or lunch together. And we see this all the time in restaurants now. A group of people sitting at a table, all heads down, looking at their phones, not engaging each other.
But why are they doing it? That's what I'm saying. They are doing it, but why are they doing it?
Because we don't want to be bored, not even for a second.
That's absolutely correct.
And we're addicted to I need to do something right now, and I need something, constant stimulation. But you know what? say innovation and other things don't happen all the time when we just constantly keeping our minds busy. Sometimes we have to let our minds rest and wander and stand. I mean, how many times have we had, good ideas, just sitting on the back porch, just sitting somewhere, look up at the sky, go, oh, you know what? And it just comes into our head when our mind is more relaxed. We don't allow ourselves to relax. And going back to also, we were talking about the personal relationships and what happens is that, it doesn't allow us space also from each other because we're so connected all the time. Like we don't give each other space to miss each other enough, right? Like we are out here, and when we're not with the person, one person's at work, you're in a, we're constantly texting or clicking like on a picture or whatever. I mean, we going out to dinner and we taking pictures of our food. We are all over the place with the social media thing, and it's so impacting our lives. We're not sitting back to enjoy anymore. We're not enjoying anymore. So,
right.
Yeah.
So the next thing is, in terms of it, and this is a real simple one in terms of weaning yourself off of it. They say that you want to just kind of set limits, right? It says, first it says stop following trends. Right? A lot of these social media, like Tumblr and some of the other ones, what they do is you can go and follow trends. Like I know I start a SoundCloud account. Or if you go and Twitter, right? You open a Twitter account, and what is the first thing it asks you to do? You got to go like some other, feeds, right? Mm-hmm. Because they want to push that information to you, right? So it says stop following these trends. We talked about the deal with the boredom. And then, I love this one. And then we talked a little bit about this, right? Whether you're talking about in a doctor's office waiting or at the restaurant. It says, enrich your relationships, your real relationships. People, and you alluded to this earlier, Ian, people, and I've seen them, they'll post something, and every 2 seconds they're looking to see how many likes they got.
Every 2 seconds.
Every 2 seconds. Like,
all the time.
And the gratification is in the number of likes. And all of a sudden you feel accepted by the world because you got double-digit likes.
Endorphins are going off like
oh, man, it's just going bananas. I got X number of likes. Oh, man, this is great. I said, but isn't it better to have real friends that really like you? Right? Mm-hmm. That are there to share good times and bad times with you. Like right. You said, not a frown face when, and even to this point, right? We have, and you talked about it, but I wanted to soak into people. Folks will post that they had a death in the family. Right, or
make a collection plate for the burial too.
Well, no, but not that piece of it. The emotional piece, right. So they posted they had a death in the family, and then they sit
and wait for responses.
And they wait for responses, and you know what? Those responses to them determine their value.
Well, it's that. I mean, I was recently at a funeral for a friend of mine from high school. Young man, he died too soon, obviously, and later on I get home and I find myself tagged or mentioned from people actually posted at such and such church, sad at such and such. I'm like, why are you posting you're at such and such church and you're sad? What are we doing that now? Are we out here? I mean, pretty soon we're going to be taking pictures with the corpses. I mean, are you serious? Are we doing this now? Like that's just insane. But I mean, the need to constantly feed off some attention it's really a major problem. So yeah, we spoke about how this everybody together. We're no longer. It's no longer we time. It's no longer just we time. It's always us time. It's me, you, and everybody else. Out there in the virtual world, the majority of people that we don't even know, and I hear you, Danielle. She says it impacts the classroom too. It impacts a lot of things. I mean,
well, how does it impact? I want to know how it impacts the classroom.
Well, because now these kids.
No, I like Danielle.
Danielle Drakeford on the feed. She says it impacts the classroom too. And I don't know if you're able to call in. If you are, or at least elaborate more on the feed, and I'll explain at 973-457-8000 if you can call in. But what it is, think about it. you're addicted to something and you're not unable to use that, and to be able to stop and to stay focused on something else, and your mind is wondering about, I wonder if I received a text or a response from such and such as so and so, and you're constantly thinking about that. And that's what our children are doing in classroom. They're wondering and thinking about what is going on. Did so and so respond? And they can't wait. They're in class. They're not really present. They are just, their body is there, but they're not present. With what's going on in the classroom. Their mind is thinking about what's going on in the virtual world. So and Deborah Danielle, students are allowed and encouraged to use their cell phones.
Well, I can text my kids while they're in class.
Yeah.
They allow me to do that. Like, my kids will be in class and they're texting me, and I always thought that was, a distraction. I mean, imagine sitting next to another kid and you're trying to focus and concentrate, and you see, those thumbs going and everything going, right? So it does create some distraction.
I don't like that. I don't like that because, the school does have a phone number. If there's an emergency situation, the school has a phone number. Or at least not allow them to use those phones until they're at lunch or something like that, so they can respond. If it's an emergent situation, then we as parents would know to call the school directly.
Right.
It's a gauge, though. It gives you an inside look as a parent of what's happening in the school. Why is my kid bored?
Say that one more time.
Why is your kid bored?
Yeah, why is your kid bored?
Why is your kid texting you during class?
Oh, no. So there have been times that there have been emergencies where I needed to communicate with my kid. They don't text. Well, no, they know not to text nonsensical things, right? So it's usually an emergency about something. Yeah, and I mean, it's just parenting, right? If you're getting a text from your kid and it's not an emergency or some subject matter that you couldn't otherwise wait or pass on to the front office for them to get in between classes, I think that you're doing your own kid a disservice. Here's the interesting thing, though. How do you know that the kids are texting? How do the teachers know that the kids are texting the parents? How do you know that? How do you
police it?
Well, no. What if the kid is texting an answer to a question?
Well, those are the times when typically the teachers don't allow the students to have their phones during testing time. That's definitely one thing that I know that they have them bring it all up to the front of the classroom and put it in there like a plastic bin. I know that for sure. But to answer your question.
Somebody responded, about lockdowns in schools, emergencies in schools, parents being able to get in touch with their kids.
Thank you, Miss Monique Edmond.
Right,
her comment was, I text my daughter too, but she responds, "I'm in class, Mom." LOL, right? And then she says, "Well, my daughter has texted me when they had lockdowns."
So here are areas where social media strengthens relationships, right? It creates that line of communication that is necessary so that a parent can ensure that their child is doing okay. So I think that, again, you have to be in control of it, right? And that's kind of what we were going through in that list. And then here's the last thing that they say: make your likes count. Make your likes count.
Okay.
So people just kind of go and they hit like, and they don't even really understand it. I did an experiment once. I posted something and I said, "Please share." You know what happened? People hit like. It got, literally, I got maybe 40 likes. Not one share. And I said, share it. So, folks, I want you to know, there are people who don't even pay attention to the posts.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, if you say share it, then share it. And a person hits like, that's not what I asked you to do. And so we've become robotic almost in this whole social media space.
But even in that context, okay, and what you're talking about, just because you asked for it, now you're expecting it to happen, and now say you were impacted by the fact they didn't do what you asked them to do. I asked you to share. Why did you share? That's also another impact. But also to answer her point, she. You asked, why are the kids bored in class? My response to that, why are the friends bored at the dinner table when they went out with each other?
Well, you know
the same thing. Why
in a relationship?
Why do you like a group of friends, a group of y'all come out and we all out together? Why do you constantly need to have to look at your phone and you have 4 or 5 other people sitting at your table that you can have a conversation with? Why can't you put that darn thing down and engage with each other? Why is it?
But let's answer that question for the listeners. So the answer to the question, my philosophy, and I'd like you guys to weigh in on that. My thought is this: that everybody has. You have a limited relationship with the people that you're sitting around. You have a more intense relationship with the people that you communicate with every single minute on social media. So now when you're with these groups, with this group of people around the table, they may represent 5% of your social life. The 95% of your social life is right there on your phone. So that's why you're not doing it. And a lot of the people that you communicate with on social media don't know the people that you're sitting at the table with, and vice versa. So when you're communicating, you're having a conversation over here in social media, you can't even talk to these people about that conversation because it's something else. And it may be a conversation that is an extension of something that you've been talking about all week. So now you're out with your friends on Saturday, but you've been in this thread since Wednesday, right? And you haven't been telling your friends that you're out with at dinner about this thread and what you've been talking about, and to try to catch them up at dinner about it. You can't do that. So, just continuing to communicate in that thread keeps you involved in that conversation over there, and you have this very limited conversation at the dinner table. That's my thought.
So you hit on the idea of all these silos, which is something
that's
that
absolutely
we
right.
keep, it keeps coming up, right? All these inefficiencies and all these different all these different inefficiencies and all these different silos are now affecting the larger picture, the larger community, the larger system, right? So how do we now get to a place where we're converging, right? Where we're connecting.
Well, so there we go.
Circles,
boom.
Right?
So that's absolutely right.
Can we create events? Can we create some solutions for engagement where, you know what, these discussions, how much closer to the mic you want to get?
Don't look at me, but look at, focus on the mic.
How much closer?
Right.
Anyway, so what engagement opportunities can we provide to connect these circles so that the discussions now become larger, higher level? Because, we are talking, we're in the sandbox, talking, minutia.
Right. No, you're 100% right. So these are two things that I'll tell you. And both of them, one disturbed me and one I'm hopeful for. So what disturbed me, and I'm only using the election to prove a point, not to talk about the school board election. Charles Love, he ran. Wound up getting, 1,500 votes. I saw today on Facebook that he posted, or maybe last night he posted it, he said, "I want to thank you all for your support." He got over 240 some likes to that. And I said to myself, if those 241 people were really supportive of Charles Love, he would have won. Because all he needed was 3,500 votes. So those 241 people were engaged at a superficial level with Charles Love. And so what you're talking about is how do you get them beyond the social media realm into the real world?
Well, that's not exactly what I'm saying, because social media is real world. It's,
I don't think it is.
No, I understand this virtual reality. It's what people believe. It's what people believe. This virtual reality. What you believe is true.
Social media allows us to display a perception that we want other people to see.
For those that are living false lives, right? But, there's folks that are really authentic and they use it as a tool effectively. But what I'm getting at is, how do we now deepen our relationships, get a little more intimate, be able to share and connect on a deeper level and nurture
within social media?
Well, you can use social media.
Right, but I'm saying at some point you got to move outside of it. That's right.
Yes,
so
and that's exactly
what I'm saying. So you got to move outside of it. And so those people did not move outside of it, right?
No.
And all over the place. You can post that there's going to be a rally about an issue, right, or a topic or whatever, and you post that, and it'll get 1 million likes. But then you ask those people to do something beyond actually hitting like, then you don't get them to respond. So it's understanding that that you have these silos. There are people who are not willing to go beyond clicking like, right? There are a few people who will go to share. There are even fewer who will actually respond.
All right, but my point in regards to social media, not only has it created us to be a more impatient society, it also created a more lazy society.
It has.
Whereas, somebody could say, please pray for something. People will click. They're not going to actually sit down for 2 seconds and go to pray for somebody. Like I said, just like the other thing I mentioned, somebody who was going through a depression, I was like, call the person. As soon as I challenged those people to do something, if you know her, they stopped on the thread because they felt embarrassed at that point. I'm like, you're not doing nothing by clicking like and saying something. Go talk to that person directly, reach out to them, connect personally. But okay, back to the lazy part, also, instead of getting up to get out to do something, don't go out to vote. If I say go out to vote, you know how many shares and likes I got on that one? Plenty. How many of them actually did it? Not sure. I mean, we had a low voter turnout. Going out to actually do what is necessary, the footwork. And all that translates also to personal. Are we doing the work that we need to do to keep the relationship going? We got to put in the work to keep it going. So because I need instant, if I'm not liking you all, I need to like you all day long? All day? For us to, like we can't ever have a moment that we're not maybe in like. You know what I mean? So because of that, the impatience of that, and that, we start looking elsewhere. Right, he's upset at me right now. So because he's upset at me right now, we're so easily turned away to look for, because we need that endorphin hit. Right. We need to get that hit, so we're turning away to get that hit from somewhere else or something.
Right. So I want to wrap this up.
Okay.
And leave you guys with the fact that we have to recognize, I think we all agree, that there are challenges, right? We can't just accept this thing being in our lives and not being something that's intruding in a negative way and something that doesn't need to be monitored. Like anything else, an addiction is real, right? And we have to pay attention. We have to see the signs of it, and we have to be willing to be honest in addressing it for the health of relationships. I think it's important. So what I want to do now is we're going to see if I can take a quick break, and then I want to come back and talk about, like, what the hell is going on in the city of Newark. I have zero idea what to say about.
To clarify in regards to the violence.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. I'm looking at the headlines, man, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on in the city of Newark? So when we come back, we'll see if we can address that. Right? We'll be right back after this quick break.
You're listening to the Eric Dawson Radio Show
on 94.3.
Yeah, I try to get you in the mic.
I know. It's just
Looking for trustworthy tax professionals? Give Impact Corp a call. We will assist you with all your tax needs. We are a team of CPAs and IRS enrolled agents. If you are audited, our audit protection team will represent you at no out-of-pocket costs. We provide 3 years audit protection and a year identity theft protection, so you can have peace of mind without fear of audit. Call our team of tax experts today, 973-395-4401.
The growth mindset. At Stanford University.
You're listening to the Eric Dawson Radio Show on 94.3 FM.
Hey, this is Eric Dawson. This is the Eric Dawson Radio Show, 94.3 FM. It's Friday.
Yes, it is.
It is Friday. 82 degrees it's supposed to get. That means the weather's getting warm. And what happens in the urban communities, man, when it gets warm?
You'll see people wearing less clothing?
Nah, brother. You
don't see that?
You may see that, but the crime level increases when the weather... And it's interesting, when you see the...
Is that really true? Like, I hear that all the time when people say, yo, it's getting hot outside. When it gets hot outside...
973-457-8000.
Is that
in your neighborhood...
Is that a statistical
fact?
If
in your neighborhood crime increases when the temperature increases, let us know. right? You can call in anonymously and just say yes, no, or you can post it in the thread. Crime increases. Look at the statistics. And there are people in the wintertime, I see the posts. They say, thank God it snowed or that it's raining, because people are in the house. They're forced, because of the inclement weather, not to be outside. Mischievous. Right? A lot of them, they have bad intentions when they walk outside. Some of them develop bad intentions because they're bored and they don't know what to do, and they say, oh, you know what? Let's go carjack somebody. Or
come on,
let's go.
Come on. It doesn't. Come on. That doesn't just happen like that because
you don't think it happens like that?
We're bored. Let's just go.
Oh,
let's just go.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a story.
Somebody call in.
I'm gonna give you a story.
Edward, call in. I'm trying to get this right.
Edward could call in, or anybody, or you guys can call in if you want to call in 973-457-8000. But here's the story. When I lived in Georgia King Village, I guess I had to be 17, maybe 16. Right?
That's a long time ago.
It was a long time. Thanks a lot, man. I was 16, and when you drive down Bergen Street, the wall that sits there, Georgia King Village, now they have it's a hall gated in, but we used to be able to sit on the wall. I lived at 25 Georgia King Village, and you remember the hot nights, right, where you don't have air conditioning. You're sticky, you can't sleep, so you open the windows, and then finally you just say, you know what, I'm going to go outside for a little while and try to catch a little breeze, right? It's humid and all that other stuff is happening. So I'm sitting with my friends outside, and we're watching the cars. It's about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, and the cars are going north on Bergen Street, and our feet are dangling on the wall. And one of my friends, I can't make this up, this actually happened, he has a shotgun. I didn't know he had it. He had it tucked in his pants. Pulls it out, and he and one of my other friends jump off the wall, and the light at the corner of Market and Bergen Street, the cars were stopped there. They walked up to the car, banged on the window, pointed the gun, and robbed the person. They just had nothing else to do. They hadn't been planning this, and I'm literally.
These are your friends, you said.
Well, you know what?
Wait. Watch them better, and like moonwalk off that. I'm
not gonna moonwalk off this. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, you know what? We need to be, and this is a discussion that we need to have too. I think we use the term friend too lightly. Right? We have friends, we have associates, we have acquaintances. Words do matter.
Okay.
So I'm going to clarify it.
Okay.
These were neighbors of mine. These were acquaintances and deep associates because we played together.
People you knew.
People I knew.
Okay.
But I just didn't know them. We played together. We hung out together. I mean, when they did the stuff that they did, I knew better and I didn't do those things. Much like when they jumped off the wall and went and tapped on that window and pointed the shotgun. I stayed on the wall, and in fact, I walked in the house.
Right.
But my point to you is this. When the weather gets like that, and understand, I didn't always live in Montclair. I hung out over in South Boyden. That's where my grandmother lived, right? I went to school, Dayton Street School, so I know what that was like in the summers. I knew what Georgia King Village was like in the summers. I knew what Huntington Terrace was like in the summers. So I know what these neighborhoods get like in the summertime. And so last night, as we were approaching this 82-degree day that we're experiencing today, all hell seemed to break loose in Newark. My understanding, and somebody please correct me on the number of people who were shot, but when I went to bed, the last report I saw was that 7 were shot, 2 were killed. And I've been trying to confirm that, in the media, but I can't seem to find that. But if there's somebody who is listening to the show who can confirm that, that would be helpful. But what are we going to do? How are we going to deal with this?
I don't know. I mean, well, we gotta, and a lot of these, unfortunately, may end up going unsolved because, we're not, speaking about what's going on in our community. Like, it's supposed to be see something, say something. Somebody asked in my thread, ask Eric if he told on those guys.
Oh, you know what? Nope, I didn't.
You didn't.
I did not.
You did not tell on them.
I did not tell on them.
And I would just say, I don't know how to respond to this increase. Why is it, and I really want to talk about why do we, more so why do we not like each other so much that we need to get out here and kill each other? And do you think that also the sensational?
Why do we kill each other?
Do we think that the sensationalization of violence on TV impacts us in a way that we don't really that we're now desensitized to life in general?
Right. So I want to address the first question and be beyond answering no. Because I know that on my page I promote accountability, right?
Right.
What I will say is, at 16 years old, I was a kid. I was a irresponsible kid. I suffered through the peer pressure of not wanting to be a snitch. Right. I wanted some semblance of acceptance among those people that I hung out with. A couple of them I played football with.
Were you any good?
Oh, dude, I was incredible.
Okay.
I was an incredible football player. I bled blue and white for Central Blue Devils for 4 years, man. So that's why I didn't tell. Now, where I stand at 53. And I'll be 54 on Tuesday.
Yes.
On Tuesday?
On Tuesday.
Isn't it a national holiday, didn't we? Is that going to be a national holiday on Tuesday?
It is in his house.
It is in my house.
Okay, just checking. Right? Okay.
But now being 54 years old, I understand the need to tell, right? So what I choose to do, and I could do it one of two ways. I could either, be like, what's the guy from Florida who, Zimmerman? And I could drive through the neighborhoods and police the neighborhoods and then call the cops on everybody. I just don't hang around people who participate in that behavior.
Zimmerman didn't do that.
Well, but that's what Zimmerman...
I don't even want to put him in that category.
Right.
He did not do that.
Well, not with Trayvon Martin. But they did say that he was the guy who policed the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's how they painted him. That's how they painted him.
Maybe with Trayvon Martin he did something different, but that's what they said. I could be that guy. But what I choose not to do is hang around people who I know are involved in illegal activity. And I tell people who are around me who, if I know that I'm like, yo, dude, I don't want to, because I don't want to be put in a position to have to tell.
How do you, so having to tell, right, this snitch issue, right, but deeper.
It's
bystander issue.
It's not snitching. There's a difference between snitching and telling.
I understand.
Snitching is if you were involved.
This is the terms that we've been using. I'm just repeating terms so that we can get at the slang and the connotations and just the cultural implications that these terms create in our community.
Yes. Go ahead.
And so either the snitching or the telling or whatever. But ultimately, how do we, even with the issues of bullying and bystander issue, you have someone who's observing, who may be recording, who doesn't report, and is literally just a witness, who you can't even be actionable on, can't report, the police can't investigate, and then the issue, the crime, the incident goes dead, unreported. So and now we're here trying to verify. Well, what is the truth here? How do we get to the truth? How do we verify the statistics? Who got shot? How many got shot? Right. Were they injured? Were they dead? We just posted a thread. Question, please confirm the headline in Newark, right? Can you repeat what the date and the time of your time check? We want to verify whether 7 were shot and 2 killed. What is the actual number in Newark with the headline?
Right.
So how do we get to the truth, right?
How do we get to the truth? Well, so there are a couple things. And this is what we know. We know that in our community, probably like in most communities, well, I got to stop. Because I keep saying our community. No. I keep saying our community. We don't have a community.
No.
Right? So we have blocks and blocks of homes where families live and they are living in the moment. And so what is good for that home is good for that home. It may not be good for the neighborhood. It may not be good for the city, but it's good for that home. Example. in that home, you have a drug dealer who is contributing to the rent and to the phone bill and to the light bill and to the grocery bill. So the havoc that drug dealer wreaks on the neighborhood or the city is irrelevant to the people who live in that home because it is good for that home. Now you multiply that 10 times over, that's what you have in these in Newark and other cities like that. And so when you say, well, how do I deal with it? How do we get people to tell? Well, I'm not going to tell on you because you're not going to tell on me. And then he's not going to tell over there. I remember 2 years ago, there was a district leader who posted on a thread. We were talking about, being responsible in the community and reporting crimes and things like that. And the person said, they actually put this on a thread. They said, well, my cousin's a drug dealer, but I told my cousin, since I'm a district leader here, they can't sell drugs here in this, they got to move down the street now. But wait a minute.
Displace crime.
So you just displaced it. That's all you did. So you said...
It's still happening. It's just over there.
But you just go to somebody else's district.
Where it doesn't hit
go
home.
5 blocks over there. And then, but that is the mentality.
Yes,
that's what we're talking about. Even when Mayor Baraka said, remember his speech when he had to occupy the city, he said, we have to occupy our own neighborhood. we have to occupy our own living rooms. That's what he said, right? But I'm thinking to myself, and I asked the question when he said that. I said, when you look at not only Mayor Baraka, but you look at his entire administration, you have to conclude, because none of them have marched a single person down the Green Street. So you have to conclude that they all live in Newark, but they don't know one person who's a drug dealer, right? In order to explain why they haven't marched anybody down. So if the people who are saying, they're telling you to occupy your living room, but they're not occupying theirs, they're telling you to occupy your block, but they're not occupying theirs, that is the culture.
Yeah, but how do you determine it? I mean, we just last week they just rounded up 41 people in a big drug bust right here in Newark.
I think that's great.
I mean, so
I think that's great.
I don't.
But let me ask you this question, right?
And also what he's been doing, and understand he has a lot of other stuff that he needs to do in addition to just coming out. But he has gone around and set up on different blocks at a time, random blocks, that, to control the.
Right. Well, I'm not trying to make it just about. I'm not trying to make it about Mayor Baraka. I'm simply talking about a culture that exists in any inner city,
right,
where you have leadership, whatever leadership. Right? So if the leadership is saying, we need to deal with crime, but the leadership within their own homes, they're not dealing with crime. Whatever leadership in whatever city. So then there's this thing where you look, you're not dealing with it. So why should I? Why should I tell on my brother? You're not telling on yours. And then the piece that Sharon talked about in terms of snitches, that's a real term that's used in the street.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I know a person in Fairmount Heights area in Newark who reported drug dealing activity, and that evening she reported to the police. That evening, she told me personally that that a police car came riding down her block, shined a bright flashlight on her house. She said that morning she got a knock on the door, and the gentleman at the door, and I'm using the term gentleman loosely, said snitches get stitches.
Mm. Right, and I just want to say something to that, and I want to say something to that. For me, only because words matter.
Words do matter.
For me, snitching, and I understand how we use the term. I mean, it's not like I don't understand that. Snitching for me, there's a difference between snitching and telling.
What was
snitching for me is if you were a participant in the crime, and you got caught.
Got it.
And you then, because you got caught, decided to open your mouth and say something, that's snitching.
I agree with you.
But telling, if you witnessed a crime versus if you witnessed it, telling is okay. In my book, telling is acceptable, and it's your responsibility if you want to keep your community up at a certain standard. Go right ahead. Take this call.
Hello, caller.
Hey.
Good morning, caller.
What's the name?
How you doing, everybody?
Doing well.
Okay. I think what happens is, you're absolutely right. They probably didn't bring them down to the police station, but I think they start cleaning up their own homes with snakes,
You're breaking up, brother. You're breaking up.
How about this?
That's better? Perfect.
Okay. What happens is, I think that, some of the people that work for the mayor that I know personally probably just just start cleaning up their own homes because of this.
You're right. That's exactly what happens. And we all do that, don't we? We all look and go, you know what, I want to try to get my cousin or my nephew or whatever straight. And it's family business. I'm going to try to handle my family business within the family. I agree with that.
Right. That's what I think happened also. Like, I had incidents with like that. You know, I had a nephew. And he talked about it last week when I seen him. And his mother told me he was selling drugs on South 11th Street and Clinton Avenue. At one time it was very hot. And he remembered me rolling up there, jumping out the car, saying, if you're not off this block and at Jumar the next Friday, I'm going to bring the police to you. I'm going to have you arrested.
Right.
So that's bold. Thank God in my family I don't have that. And I have 5 kids and 14 grandchildren. So, you know, we have other problems and stuff like that. But, and as far as snitching and everything, I'm 63 years old, I'll be 64 years old. We come from a different climate, area and time where you don't tell on your people. That's just a natural situation. You don't tell on your people. But like I used to tell people, I have friends that are judges or doctors, and I had friends that was the worst drug dealers. I had a friend that passed away that was the president of the board. But then I had a friend that that was my friend. So it's the environment that we came from. You know, I mean, we didn't come from the suburbs. I mean, we took care of each other. You did the right thing because you didn't pick up the shotgun. You walked away. So that was a quiet protest or a passive protest.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry, Carla. What was your name?
Alif.
Alif Mohammed.
All right. Well, thanks for calling, brother Alif. I appreciate it.
I appreciate that, man. Bye.
All right.
So, and I agree with him. But so the issue that I had when I listened to him say it was an unreasonable request. That's all I was saying. Was that when you sit and tell people, well, you got to go and grab them out there. They're hiding guns in your house. They're doing this, that, and you got to drag them out. That's not going to happen because it doesn't happen in our homes. What we do is we try to deal with it. So when I listened to it, I said, So when we ask the question, how do we deal with it? Well, it's going to be dealt with in individual homes. It's not going to be some mass movement of grabbing people like ICE, right, out of the homes and dragging them. That's not going to happen. Each family is going to try to intervene. So what do we need? We need resources.
So, in talking about resources, right, how do we now engage, right, other people in the community, our faith-based community, those that have access to in the home,
so that's the real conversation.
Community.
Right, so that becomes the real conversation.
Yes.
So the other thing was not real. The other thing was show and whatever. But the real conversation is, we're screwed up, right? You know, everybody's trying to protect it. They want to love. It's dysfunctional love, right? It's not tough love. You know that they're tearing up the community, but you want to keep them. You don't want to see them go to jail. That's the real struggle. So it's not about saying to people that they should do something that you know you're not willing to do. And so now when you look at how you're dealing with it, right? If you have the means to get them treatment, to get them resources and things like that, then you have to look and say, if these other people don't have those means, we have to have the ability to do that. So then we go to what is effective leadership in the urban communities around here. Because if the leadership doesn't know how to go and get the necessary resources, then we're going to have this problem.
When we
and
say
it's
leadership,
getting warmer outside.
Oh, yes. And so when we say leadership, we have to kind of also be a little clearer, a little more specific with who exactly are we talking about, right? Well, everyone can be a leader, right? But
I say selected and elected leadership.
Selected and elected leadership. Okay.
Right. So I'm talking about those who you go to the polls and vote for. Right, all the way from your district leader, all the way up to the municipal buildings, right? And then I'm talking about your freeholders, your assembly people. I'm talking about your state senator, your congressman, your U.S. senator, your governor. I'm talking about all, and then the selected leaders, those people who you allow to walk in the community and say that they're leading something. Well, what are they doing? How are they really leading? And then so specifically we're talking about, and I don't want to just pick on the churches. The masjids are failing the black community too. They're not doing what they need to do. These imams need to come out of these masjids. They need to get on these street corners. These pastors need to get out of the churches. They need to get on these street corners. They all need to work in collaboration to advocate for resources for these communities.
I'll make a statement on that. There is a trend, and I'm working with several select faith-based institutions as their resource development and outreach coordinator. Folks that I have a personal relationship with, I want to shout out, First Lady Farrell and Bishop Robert T. Farrell from Higher Praise Worship Center. Folks that have the expertise, have the qualifications, have the education, have the zeal, are available 24/7 besides their job. People that are out there doing the work, the invisible hand of God. How do we now bring these resources and bring them to light? Because as a grant writer and resource development consultant, my people come to me and they're like, Sharon, we need some money. And I've said, all right, well, have you talked to so-and-so and so-and-so? Because, we need to collectively bargain for resources, enough with the crabs in the barrel mentality, and be able to collaborate. We talked about this prisoner dilemma, remember, in economics, collaboration over solo. There's all these silos. How can we connect and now collaborate and make an impact in the community? And so churches are coming out of the walls. They're doing outreach, but now the resources and the coordination is where we need to strengthen ourselves,
Yeah, very good point on that. But someone did post and ask the question. I mean, with 14, I think it was 1,400 or some, I don't know, it was 1,400 or 14, more or less, I'm sure it's 1,400 between churches and mosques in the city. Why is it that we still have so many of these issues that we have? And typically, if you look at it,
you got an answer?
I do.
I got an answer too. I want to answer the lady's question or the man's question.
Well, and the other thing, and customarily, I see
But let's answer that question.
Well, and I'm not.
Okay,
that's not complete. As I recall,
I'm saying we got 3 minutes to go. I want to make sure we get her that question answered.
Okay, and I don't think it's ethnic specific or anything. I mean, because I recall also in the movie Roger and Me, when the economic base moved out, the churches increased, the liquor stores increased, and all these other things increased. And I think it's a direct correlation between the economics in the community. I think the lower the economics, the more of these churches and liquor stores and et cetera, so on, you'll see that. You can tell what neighborhood you're going just by driving. Even if you don't know where you're at, you can see a church on this block and a church on that block. And
right.
a church
But
on
the
that
question was, if we have all those churches, why do we still have these issues? That's the question.
I have the answer.
Go ahead. I'll let you go. So we got a minute and a half.
A minute and a half, real quick. Why do we have all these issues? Because we have lacked the resources. We lack the coordination.
In the microphone.
We lack the coordination. There could be 3 churches in the same building renting each other's space for, within each other for their own individual services, but nobody wants to do a joint fellowship.
Right. I think that is one big reason. The other reason is churches have become political. Mm-hmm. They have become political. They are all aligned. Look at Election Day. And watch the politicians who they allow and disallow to come and stand before their congregation. See, pay attention. See, we got to talk. We got to tell the truth, right? You'll see whoever that pastor is supporting, that is the person that they'll allow to come in and talk before their congregation. They won't allow all of the other candidates to come and talk. And because of that, too, we don't have the churches are not involved with.
And I think the other reason is because there are a lot of pimps in the pulpit.
That's absolutely
right.
right.
And I say that with regards to just the other day, you had a couple of pastors arrested who participated in the sex trafficking. So we have a lot of people behind the pulpit who are using that for their own personal economic, and I think a lot of these televangelists are a part of that issues as well. They know what they're doing. They're going out here, they got these $10 million homes, et cetera, so on, these, TV fakes and all these other different preachers out there doing that. I think it's a whole lot of pimps in the pulpit, and they're more about their individual accomplishment versus doing something for the community. I think that's the reason why the churches aren't impacting, because I think a lot of them have become about me versus we.
That's it. So listen,
but that's a generalized statement, and there is truth. That there's truth to it, but there's also another side. Well, make sure.
We'll get to the other side on the other side.
On the other side.
This is Friday. This is Eric,
Sharon,
and this is Ian,
and we're out.
Right, have a good weekend, everybody.
Has been the Eric Dawson
Radio show. It's not just about Eric's opinion. It's about understanding what's really going on. Tune in Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock a.m. Just continuing to talk about what elected leadership isn't doing without talking about the people who elected the elected leadership and what they're not doing to hold them accountable and release them.
94.3 Reggae, Dance Hall, Soca, Hip Hop and R&B.
Finally, glad to meet you.